chaos to just get in the car and leave as fast as you can.
At least a dozen wildfires burning across 3 states in the Southwest. What experts say is to blame for conditions that led to those fires at 501. Plus, a new survey finds the prospect of buying a home is out of reach for more Americans than ever. How much mortgage rates increased by since the start of this year alone at 503. And
it may have gotten into the pipe while they were doing the repair.
A water main break forcing the city of Bryant into a boil order. What experts at the Department of Health are testing for and when that order could be lifted at 520.
From the station that's on your side, this is Channel 7 News Daybreak.
Well, 5 o'clock is our time on this Friday morning. Good morning and welcome to Channel 7 Daybreak, and thanks for joining us on this Friday edition. It's April 22nd, and let's get right to our forecast because it's a good one to talk about as we head into the weekend. Melinda?
It is a good one, and it will be quite a bit different from our Easter Sunday weekend last weekend, but there is some rain chances that we'll have to talk about as we go into the second half of your weekend. So, yeah, Saturday is looking good, and so is today, too. I think all dry, and we'll get some sunshine. Right now, we still have some morning clouds kind of that have moved in overnight. 70 degrees though, south wind at 9. Yesterday, if you walked out and thought, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this warm. Well, today it is just as warm. So leave the jackets at home, mostly in the 60s. Here we go hour by hour through the day, though. I think the morning clouds give way to sunshine, but we'll call it partly cloudy for the day. And not just 80s, but maybe mid 80s for a lot of us, including here in central Arkansas. Coming up, though, we'll talk about that weekend. You definitely need to see that forecast before you make those outdoor plans. Chris?
Linda, thank you. 5:01 is our time. We have some new information to share with you right now. At least a dozen large fires are burning across 3 states, forcing evacuations and destroying homes. Near Flagstaff, Arizona, the so-called tunnel fire exploding to more than 20,000 acres. Dozens of buildings reduced to ashes as that fast-moving fire burns out of control. And now, new red flag warnings are taking effect from Texas to Nevada and reaching as far as North Nebraska. The historic drought in the West further threatening that firefight. A new report showing record low rainfall totals in California. Experts already voicing concerns about the upcoming fire season.
Yeah, we're almost at the point of begging the public, do not start fires. They are getting out of control very quickly, and we're resource depleted.
Well, in Colorado, investigators say that a drone is to blame for this blaze. Researchers were studying severe weather impacts when the drone crashed and sparked the grass fire. Experts say climate change is to blame for the droughts. They say that more wildfires are adding to the record levels of air pollution. So the former president of Honduras has been extradited to the U.S. to face drug trafficking and weapons charges. U.S. prosecutors allege that Juan Orlando Hernandez was involved in a drug trafficking conspiracy that moved more than 550 tons of cocaine to the United States. Attorney General Merrick Garland saying that Hernandez abused his position as president of Honduras to operate the country as a narco state.
Because of these alleged crimes, communities in the United States suffered, and the people of Honduras suffered.
Garland saying Hernandez is believed to have gotten millions of dollars from drug cartels, including from the infamous Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo. Hernandez is reportedly denying any wrongdoing. The U.S. economy facing multiple headwinds, the war in Ukraine, a labor shortage here at home, supply chain disruptions, and more. All of this causing prices for just about everything to skyrocket, all while businesses worry about what the future brings. National correspondent Atra Elnashar has a look at the numbers that show things could be slow to improve.
This week, buying a home got even more expensive.
With inventory so limited, you've got prices continuing to increase because buyer demand is just so very strong.
The average home price was more than $375,000 in March, according to the National Association of Realtors. With that came news from Freddie Mac Thursday that the average rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 5.11%, meaning an average monthly payment is $1,631 if locked in today, compared to the 3.22% it was at the beginning of the year. That's a 25.37% increase in 3.5 months. There's no sign of a cool down as builders struggle to keep up with demand.
We're simply not building enough homes to actually meet the overall needs that we have in the economy. Probably 5 to 6 million more homes, if they were constructed today, could be sold and we'd come close to actually meeting demand.
A survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York finds only 43.3% of renters believe they'll ever own a home, the first time that number's dropped below 50 in the survey's history. President Biden focusing on ways to fix supply chains during a trip to Oregon Thursday with things like the bipartisan infrastructure law. But analysts in an S&P Global report point out its $1.2 billion investment isn't expected to go as far as intended because of the higher cost of construction and materials. Cato Institute's Scott Lincecum.
Again, some of this is out of President Biden's control. It's the Fed, it's supply chains, and the rest. But I think the really frustrating thing here is that there are levers the president can pull.
Like lifting tariffs on construction materials, he says, or speeding up visa processing for immigrant workers. But even then,
when you have Russia and now lockdowns in China, it's just impossible to predict how this is all going to play out.
According to notes from the Federal Reserve this week, those are the same concerns of businesses across the country as the global and domestic economic outlooks grow more uncertain by the week. I'm Atra Al-Nashar reporting.
Atra, thank you. The Toro Company announced in January that it was buying Batesville-based lawnmower manufacturer the Intimidator Group for $400 million. And on Thursday, it made that purchase official. Leaders from Intimidator handed over the ownership of the building during a press conference yesterday. Toro CEO Rick Olson says that Batesville was a perfect location for the company's new facility.
We've been incredibly impressed with the community here, and especially the way that people have come together to support business. We do like areas where our products could contribute in the community. That's a really good fit for us.
Batesville's mayor says the addition of the Toro factory will increase jobs in Batesville and in Independence County. The state of Arkansas is a little more than a month away from primary election day. On Thursday, the Arkansas Press Association held a day of debates for 4 key races. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans are running for Secretary of State in this year's election. All 4 agree, including incumbent John Thurston, that the Secretary of State's website needs to be revamped and made more user-friendly. One topic that split the candidates, gerrymandering and new electoral maps drawn in central Arkansas.
Yeah, gerrymandering is real, and it's a real problem. And, you know, it doesn't matter to me whether it was a Democrat that did it 10 years ago or a Republican that did it now. Gerrymandering is gerrymandering, and that's why we need to have an independent, redistricting, nonpartisan commission.
To think that minorities the goal was to disenfranchise is so far from the truth. In fact, we went through painful lengths to make sure that we did not do that. And if you want to look at maps, look at the one that we're in currently, I should say, versus the new one that we're going to be under. Line them up. If you want to see some crazy lines, look at that one. You talk about gerrymandering.
Despite disagreements on electoral maps, all candidates say supporting the right to vote is the utmost importance. Later on Daybreak, we're going to take a look at the debate between candidates for Attorney General and what they agree on. Hey, coming up on Daybreak, Uber announced some Earth Day promotions that can save you money on environmentally friendly rides. How much you could save while helping the planet in today's Tech Bites from ABC at 5:12.
And at the bus stop this morning, we'll be in the 60s, nice and dry, and headed to the 80s this afternoon. Coming up, though, a look at your weekend, some changes coming in.
All us today. The weather team with the most experience. This is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
All right, our clock just went to 5:10, keeping you on time on this Friday morning, and it is going to be a nice one today and tomorrow. Looking good. Sunday, maybe not so good, but we do get some rain. And you know what? Rain this time of year is a good thing. That moisture in the ground is always something you want headed into the hot summer months. So that's a good thing. Keeps everything growing too. But we'll be sure and let you know when there'll be dry days so you can get the grass mowed and all of those things. So getting warmer, that's going to make the grass grow. Sunday, soaker, especially for north and western Arkansas. Cooler next week behind it. So we're not quite done with the 40s yet, but I think the 30s that we saw, just recently, probably not going to get quite that cold again. So 70 degrees now, south winds at about 9, the dew point at 62. So if you noticed it just feeling more humid yesterday, it's because of that dew point going up. It was in the 30s earlier this week. So that moisture content has increased. 60s and 70s to start out the day. Don't worry about jackets. We won't need those until maybe some mornings and night times next week. Upper 60s, low 70s in the metro too. And we'll get up into the low 70s around 9 o'clock this morning. Into the 80s by lunchtime, right around then. And then mid 80s for highs with more sunshine than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday it took a while for the sun to come out for most of us. And then we'll carry those into the weekend too. Tomorrow 82 on Sunday too. But the changes come in and Sunday. So Saturday is definitely the day for anything outdoors or outdoor work, perhaps around the house and yard. That's going to be today or Saturday before if you want to beat that Sunday rain. And here it is. This is kind of in the afternoon hours primarily, but it sort of slows down according to our latest data. I think we will have rain, maybe even thunderstorms Monday morning here on Daybreak to track. So that may be a wet morning commute. Not a good combination for a Monday morning, so we'll keep an eye on that. Could kind of stick around for south and eastern Arkansas through a good part of the day on Monday, too, before it leaves the state. But we'll keep an eye. Right now, it doesn't look like a big severe weather threat. I'll check in with the Storm Prediction Center today on that, but it could be quite a bit of rainfall, maybe 2 inches to even 3 inches in sections of northwest Arkansas, lesser amount south and east. So 84 today, warm and breezy, partly cloudy. Tonight it's back down just to the 60s again. So the warm air continues, but there's the cool down behind it from the 80s this weekend to highs only in the 60s Monday and Tuesday. Okay, 5:12, time to check out Tech Bites from ABC.
Today's Tech Bites, Uber is kicking off Earth Day by permanently dropping the surcharge on its environmentally friendly cars. Riders who request an Uber Green hybrid or electric vehicle will no longer pay an extra $1. And for the next week, there's a $1 discount for going green with Uber cars, e-bikes, and e-scooters. Spotify is expanding access to video podcasters. That means creators can now upload video content to go along with audio output. Spotify says it's also offering new tools and features, including ways to monetize those podcasts. BTS is coming to Apple Fitness Plus. The K-pop band's music and choreography are the basis of new dance workouts in the Apple service. They're part of Apple's Artist Spotlight series, and they launch next week. In addition to BTS, the sessions also feature ABBA and Queen. Took long enough. Hope it was worth the wait. Sure, it'll all work out. Those are your Tech Bites.
Ever wonder what everyone's doing on their phones? They're banking with Bank of America. The groom's parents, they just found out they can redeem rewards for a second honeymoon. Romance is in the air. Like these two. He's realizing he's in love and that his dating app just went up. Must be fate. And Phil, he forgot a gift, so he's sending the happy couple some money.
Digital tools so impressive, you just can't stop banking. What would you like the power to do?
How is he still playing?
Aspercream Arthritis. Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Don't touch my piano.
Kick pain in the Aspercream. I'm a
People dancing like Mickey Mouse and watching.
Check my drawers. My clothes smell so much fresher than before.
Try Gain Flings and you'll be a Gainiac too. The only detergent with OxyBoost and Febreze.
5:14 is the time. Let's take a look at your Daybreak entertainment news this morning. So, a treat for you on this Earth Day. You get to spend some time with polar bears. The Disney nature film Polar Bear tells the story of a female bear's journey battling the elements in the Arctic. And co-director Jeff Wilson says he's particularly proud of one sequence of never-before-seen bear behavior. It's two bears coming together who have no other intent other than to enjoy each other's company. They show that footage to scientists. They had no explanation as to what the behavior is going on in that sequence. It's now streaming on Disney+. And a new movie pillaging theaters this weekend brings a famous and bloody Viking legend to life. Alexander Skarsgård stars as a Viking prince displaced by treachery and seeking vengeance. That's all Vikings do, it seems like, Melinda. It's called The Northman. Skarsgård's passion and director Robert Eggers' vision brings the world of the Vikings to vivid life. The film also stars, get this cast list, Ethan Hawke, Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy, and features William Dafoe and Icelandic singer Björk. Hey, Prince fans around the world paid tribute to the artist on Thursday, 6 years after his passing. The legendary performer died of an accidental fentanyl overdose April 21st of 2016. Just 57 years old. Since his death, a great deal of Prince's charity donations have come to light. His infamous Paisley Park recording studio and complex hosted a special charity concert Thursday to honor and remember the late artist. Proceeds went to local underprivileged youth. This summer, the Prince Immersive Experience will debut in Chicago. The interactive exhibit will focus on Prince's life, creative evolution, and original sounds. One of our favorites, more than Gone Too Soon.
That was such a shock when that happened. And I think one of the artists who passed away, where we've seen more music new music come out, you know, that he had already done than anybody else, seems
Definitely.
like.
They said the vault of his catalog that had never been heard before, at least not in the public, they said it could produce album after album after album for, I mean, years, if not decades down the road. That's how much music we might still be able to hear from the legendary Prince. But let's first talk about this morning, what we can hear from our forecast if we're running out the door this morning.
Yeah, running, walking, hurrying out the door, or if you do have time to get a little exercise. Looks good. It's going to be a little warmer, and definitely it's more humid than it was just a couple of days ago. That's one reason we're milder, talking about the 60s this morning. 69 degrees, going to really just staying in the upper 60s this morning, going to the 80s this afternoon. So it will be a warm one, and I think mostly sunny skies after just a few morning clouds and maybe a little bit of patchy fog to start out the day. So keep that in mind. No rain to worry about, though, but we'll tell you when rain does come back, and it's not too far away. Chris?
Coming up on Daybreak, the city of Bryant under a boil order after a water main break on Thursday. The areas of concern, and when an ADH contamination test result will arrive at 5:20. 5:20 is the time. Let's take a look at some of the top stories on Daybreak this morning. We have an update to share with you on a story we first brought to you yesterday at this time. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says 19-year-old Aisha Bethune from Pine Bluff was located safe in Duncanville, Texas. The family reported her missing in Houston on April 3rd. Authorities are not releasing any further details at this time. And the city of Bryan is still under a boil order after the Department of Health was notified Thursday of a water main break that's affecting the city. Now, in this area of concern, there it is on your map. Streets include Northeast 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Street, Mills Park Road from Bristol to Reynolds Road. They're asking everyone in the area of mention to please avoid the water, throw out any ice, and use water bottles if they're available. What they're looking for is a microbiological contaminant, and the Arkansas Department of Health says that they've received samples to test, and not to worry, it's only a precaution at this time.
Through our policy, when they lose pressure for those type of events, they'll issue a precautionary boil order until they get the water samples and testing come back to show the water's safe.
And now that the samples have been received by the Department of Health, the results are expected to come through this afternoon. Well, a 4-day controlled burn will continue today at Pinnacle Mountain State Park. The burn started on Thursday. It's scheduled to continue today, Monday, and Tuesday. It will not take place over the weekend. It begins each day 8 a.m. and lasts until 4. The burns are being conducted to get rid of trees, tree trimmings, and brush to make way for a new visitor center. The park will remain open to visitors. Coming up next after the break, a tiny Martian moon makes its mark on the sun. We'll show you an eclipse like you've never seen before at 5:25.
All right, 5:24 is the time. There has been a little bit of a change to our allergy report this morning as grass has gone up just a little bit in the pollen count up into the medium category. It was just low yesterday. So like we said, that grass is starting to grow a little bit, and that adds some pollen. Of course, weeds still low, but trees and mold pollen counts still considered high. So I know there are a lot of people still suffering from that, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. Temperatures this morning in the upper 60s and low 70s. Another mild day. I think it'll be partly cloudy today. No rain expected, but the 80s are expected again. We'll have your weekend forecast coming up, Chris.
All right, time now for this really happened. Let's take a look at it. It's a high time. Another celestial body got its moment in the sun. Q Phobos, that's a potato-shaped moon orbiting Mars. It was caught on cam doing its best to eclipse the sun in transit, only to cast a bizarre oblong blotch instead. The Phobos photobomb was captured by the Mars Perseverance rover. And from the surface of the red planet, it isn't the first time. Eclipses by Phobos have been recorded in the past, but the newest one provides the most high-def look. There it is right there at this tiny Martian moon in motion going over. So yeah, it does kind of look like a science fiction movie, doesn't it?
It looks like a baked potato.
It
When I
does.
thought, what's a potato shape? Because they're all different. But then when we saw the close-up, I'm like, that does look like a potato.
I know, we're so used to seeing planets and moons being so spherically perfect, and that one's certainly not the case. Also, and this really happened this morning, a cartoonish crisis averted in Mississippi after police say they recovered a stolen statue of Yogi Bear that was recently snatched from the entrance of the Jellystone Park Camp Resort. They say the statue was found damaged, but they didn't say how badly. Probably more than the average bear statue. Do you think kids today know who Yogi Bear is?
I don't.
I don't think
I
so
don't.
either.
I think there's some adults that may not remember who he is.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
was kind of one of his sayings. I think he's more than the average bear, I believe. I remember that.
Yeah.
Glad he's back. I bet he was in some dorm room somewhere.
Probably a prank of some sort.
Yeah.
I'm glad he is back too. All right, 5:27 is our time now. Coming up on Daybreak this morning for our question of the day, we're asking you, how are you celebrating Earth Day? You can let us know on our Facebook and Twitter pages at KATV News, and we'll go over those results at 5:56. But first, it's time for a coffee break.
To go.
This is a public health matter. This is not a judicial matter.
Confusion is growing over nationwide mask requirements at a time when COVID cases are creeping back up. The statistic that's actually going down, and when children under 5 could get vaccinated at 5:31. Plus,
they only started doing this because the woke mob came after them.
Florida's lawmakers have stripped special privileges from the happiest place on earth for speaking up on the so-called Don't Say Gay bill. The economic impact companies like Disney could face for wading into the political waters at 5:33. And Arkansas candidates took to the debate stage Thursday. The topic candidates for Attorney General could agree on at 5:36.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into Channel 7 Daybreak. Thanks for joining us on our Friday edition. It is 5:30, and today is April 22nd. Let's get right to our weather forecast. We got at least a nice start to the weekend ahead. For that, we join meteorologist Melinda Mayo. Melinda?
Yeah, I think the weekend's going to start much nicer than it's going to end. There is rain in the forecast for Sunday. I don't think it's going to be like last weekend where we had rain a good part of both Saturday and Sunday. So we'll get to that, but let's get you out the door with what you need to know. Kind of warm and muggy. I'll say mild with those temperatures right around 70 here in Little Rock. We've got a south wind at 9 and that dew point in the low 60s. You can kind of feel the humidity, at least when you compare it to what we saw earlier this week when it was so dry and still kind of cool in the mornings. So mostly 60s for morning temperatures. Don't worry about jackets. And, you know, if the kids want to wear shorts to school today, that's probably going to be okay because we're going to head to the low to mid 80s this afternoon with all that sunshine. Coming up, though, we'll detail that weekend. The changes happen as we go from Saturday to Sunday. Chris?
Some breaking news to share with you overnight. The Stone County Sheriff's Department and state police are working on 2 separate death investigations. They posted this on their Facebook page. Right now, they say part of these investigations are happening in the Bend area of Stone County. That's going to be to the west of Batesville and to the north of Heber Springs. Sheriff Lance Bonds is urging people to stay inside, lock their doors at this time. They say it's not an active shooter situation. Deputies are patrolling the area. Stick with Channel 7 for updates on this story as it continues to develop. 5:32 is our time. And in other news this morning, some new information to share with you in the nationwide confusion over mask requirements. It's getting worse as public health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are criticizing a federal judge's decision to strike down the CDC mask mandate on public transportation, calling it disturbing and potentially creating a dangerous precedent. The Department of Justice now appealing the order, but has not asked for the mandate to remain in place while the courts decide on that case. Nationwide, COVID deaths are dropping, hospitalizations creeping back up a bit. New cases are also rising in about 30 states. Parents eager to vaccinate their children, and their younger children in particular, might have to wait a little longer. As Dr. Fauci confirms, federal regulators are considering waiting to authorize both the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine for kids under 5 at the same time, and that could be sometime in June. Well, the White House press secretary says that there should be a decision on extending student loan payments freezes in the next few months. Right now, the moratorium on federal student loan repayments is set through August 31st. That's been extended 4 times since President Biden took office. The press secretary also says debt cancellation is still on the table. Some financial planners recommend borrowers hold off on making payments right now and putting that payment money in a high-yield savings account until there's a decision. Happening this morning, the Arkansas Department of Health's Minority Health Commission is hosting its 7th biennial summit. And they're putting the Putting the Me in Mental Health today, tomorrow, and always runs from 7:30 this morning until 12:30. Speakers at the summit will focus on the impact COVID-19 is having on the mental health of both children and adults in communities of color. This is a live stream event, and you can find a link to register for free on our website at KATV.com. You can just click on that story. Conservatives have been fighting against what they call wokeism via politics for years, and now their pushback could impact big business. Ryan Smith of the National Desk explains the possible economic fallout of that fight.
Florida's Walt Disney World may not feel like the happiest place on earth this week.
Show the bill passes. Read the next bill.
The state legislature Thursday revoking the law that allows the company to operate as its own municipal government. Republican reaction to Disney's opposition to what critics have dubbed the, quote, "don't say gay" law.
For a company like Disney to say that this bill should have never passed, they only started doing this because the woke mob came after them.
Disney's stock down 20% this year. Critics point to the company wading into controversial political waters as the reason for the drop. And Disney's not the only company suffering from what conservatives call wokeism, the public embracing of progressive points of view.
I invite Comcast, Coca-Cola, Papa John's, Peloton, many others that funded these organizations like BLM.
The group Concerned Communities for America slamming numerous companies Wednesday for supporting Black Lives Matter and accusing them of backing efforts to, quote, defund the police. Also this week, Netflix's stock took a nosedive after announcing they lost a net 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter, chalking it up to things like password sharing among households, increased competition, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and inflation. Tesla CEO Elon Musk speculating the loss could be due to the content Netflix puts out, tweeting the woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable.
An American icon washed away by woke politics.
And this month, conservative group Consumers Research launching a new campaign targeting Levi's and American Express, putting a focus on how they say these companies' moves toward political activism is a betrayal of their customers and a distraction to cover up their business practices. While the economy continues to be a top concern for American voters in this year's midterms, these types of non-economic issues continue to take center stage in the political conversation. I'm Ryan Smith reporting.
And now we're continuing our breakdown of Thursday's day of debates. Arkansas candidates before primary day. 2 of the 3 candidates showing up for the Attorney General debate, Democrat Jesse Gibson and Republican Leon Jones Jr. were in attendance. Current Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin did not show due to prior engagements. Both candidates in attendance agreed on how to deal with challenges of constitutionality of new laws.
If you can't be swayed by people who have used logic and reason and the law to explain to you, maybe dollars and cents will help. There are so many laws that once held unconstitutional, huge legal bills, are having to be paid out of the state's coffers. Is that the way you want to legislate? Is that the example that we want to set? Is that the fiscal legacy that you want to leave? And if you won't listen to reason and logic, perhaps that will persuade some people.
Leon, same question to you. 60 seconds. How would you persuade the legislature when you know they're going down a path that is going to be problematic?
And I have to say, I agree with that. It comes down to dollars and cents. If reason and logic won't get them there from a constitutional perspective, then you have to talk about dollars and cents. Because each of them who has been elected understand that they can't go back to their constituency and say, we've spent money unnecessarily. And showing them, hey, this will lead us down a path of spending millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars that is not necessary, that may help.
In the next hour of Daybreak, we'll hear from 6 of 8 gubernatorial candidates on what pressing issues our state is facing. And still ahead on Daybreak, the CDC is preparing to prevent future pandemics through the use of a new disease forecast center. Why health experts say the COVID-19 pandemic justified the need for this tool at 5:44.
A warm morning and kind of a little muggy out there as moisture has increased. We're not really used to that yet. Highs today in the mid-80s. We've got your weekend forecast straight ahead.
The weather team with the most experience. This is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
5:41 is the time. Good morning to you. It feels like the start of a summer day out there. It's kind of mild. It's a little bit humid too. And you know, we're kind of just not used to this humidity yet. We have not been acclimated to it this year. So it does feel a little steamy. In our weather headlines, it is getting warmer, 80s for the next 3 days. Sunday, though, even with 80s, we got some rain, and it could be a soaker for some parts of the state. Cooler next week behind it, not just drastically cooler, but a little cooler than today's going to be. Morning lows may get down into the 40s again. We're not quite done with those yet, but I think the 30s probably we are. 70 degrees, south winds at about 9 miles per hour. Here's a look at everything going on around the state. Upper 60s in most locations and low 70s. Right here in the metro, Conway, you're coming in at 68 degrees. So is Benton and Bryant. 67 out at Perryville. Over to the east of Little Rock, 68 at Lone Oak, 67 in England, and 70 down in Pine Bluff. Well, we do have a few morning clouds like yesterday. I don't think they stick around, though, as long as the cloud cover did yesterday. Maybe a little patchy fog, too, but then breaking out into the sunshine, and it stays with us all day long. So if you're trying to get some things done outside, I think today is good for that. Maybe a lot of mowing tomorrow because we're getting time to dry out a lot of the rain that we had earlier this week before the Sunday rain. Low 80s both days. But Sunday does look like it's going to be wet, and maybe even for the morning hours in some places. But I think the better chances are going to be later in the day, afternoon, into Sunday night, and even into Monday for a while, too. So this is lunchtime Sunday. The heaviest rain is starting to move into western Arkansas. It kind of slows down a little bit. So there will be some breaks, but not many, because it looks like by Sunday night into Monday morning, that front begins to work through. We'll watch for any strong storms. Right now, the severe weather threat doesn't look that impressive. I think maybe the flooding threat may be a higher concern, especially for north and western Arkansas, where you can see the biggest rains are going to happen. That gets up into maybe 3, even 4 inches along the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, and maybe about a ½ inch down in southeast Arkansas. Here in the central part, probably an inch is going to be good for us. 84 for a high today, partly cloudy, warm and breezy. And then tonight it's back down to the 60s. Nice evening tonight. It's just going to be a little bit muggy as those dew points are up. They'll get cooler, though, and our temperatures get cooler behind that rain for Tuesday. Chris?
5:44 is the time. The CDC launched a new tool to help communities gauge the seriousness of emerging health threats. The Center for Forecasting and Outbreak Analytics, or CFA, aims to be a national weather service for infectious diseases. That's according to the CDC. Just as your meteorologist gives you a heads up on the day's weather, like Melinda just did, the CFA intends to do the same, but for infectious diseases. This need for a system became clear during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the CDC.
The response from our leadership, our public health leadership, has been to scramble, to pull together evidence, to try to make the best decisions we can. It's also been really clear this is no way to run a response to a pandemic.
Planning for the center began last August with $200 million in funding from the 2021 federal stimulus package, and the investment is already paying off. The center anticipated the timing and impact of the Omicron variant. The CDC hopes forecasts from the center will help communities across the nation quickly respond and hopefully respond more effectively to the emergence of future viruses to prevent another global pandemic. The CDC also reporting that fewer kindergartners are getting vaccinated right now. On Thursday, health experts said childhood vaccination rates for measles, mumps, and rubella and other conditions fell during the last school year. Researchers said vaccinations dropped by about 1 percentage point for 3 immunizations. Scientists looked at data reporting in 47 states and Washington, D.C., covering more than 3 million children. The CDC also found the rate of children with a vaccine exemption was the same as the previous year. That was 2.5%. Researchers said the overall drop could be tied to the pandemic, namely tougher access to appointments and inaccessible data. A reminder, this month, KETV is partnering with the Arkansas Blood Institute to help those with sickle cell disease. It's the most common inherited blood disorder and primarily affects the African American and Latino communities. We're in the final days of our campaign. We have 2 more blood drives set up for the month. The first is Wednesday at Arkansas Children's Hospital, and the second is Saturday, April 30th at the Midtown Shopping Center. They'll include free sickle cell trait screenings for minority donors, and you can make an appointment by going to our website, KETV.com. You can also scan the QR code on the right side of your screen. But if you can't make one of our drives, you can still donate at any Arkansas Blood Institute donor center. Coming up next in sports.
Just kept believing in myself and kept training hard, and I ran the fastest 40.
The Lion King roars. Pierre Strong's path to the NFL started in Southwest Little Rock. What kept him focused through high school and college to get to next week's draft, a life-changing moment ahead for him. That's at 5:49. You don't want to miss it.
Plus. The Arkansas Select Buick GMC Sports Desk. Here's Steve Sullivan.
Well, the early Heisman Trophy odds are out, and I like this long shot pick. How about KJ Jefferson at 80-1? Sign me up. Well, Mike Neighbors picked up a grad transfer yesterday. Christiana Carr is a 6'1" guard who last season averaged just under 12 points and 5 rebounds a game for Syracuse. She also shot 36% from three-point range. Over in Jonesboro, the search is on for new athletics director at Arkansas State again. Tom Bowen has resigned after just a year and 10 days on the job. Bowen says he's stepping down due to health issues that require his immediate attention.
Just based off of the last 2 hours, the level of interest that I've received, the calls that I've gotten, I am excited about what we will bring, and we will continue to push the envelope.
Chuck Welch usually does a great job. Well, the Diamond Hogs will open a series tonight at A&M. One guy who killed it in these midweek games is catcher Dylan Leach. He had another homer in Wednesday's win.
And he's a guy that I wouldn't have a problem catching in a conference game or bringing him off the bench to pinch hit, and even considering that with a couple of times. But it's been really good to see him catch well, and our pitchers gaining confidence in him.
And finally this morning, we're a week away from the NFL draft, and one of the good stories with local ties is former McClellan High star Pierre Strong Jr. It was 6 years ago that Pierre Strong, the Lion King, led lowly Little Rock McClellan on a magical ride to the 5A state title game.
To see the community out, every game was packed, so, we never had that, as far as I know, we never had that, so just to see that, it was wonderful for the community.
Pierre had no major offers coming out of high school, so he headed to Brookings, South Dakota to play for South Dakota State, a big adjustment for a player from the South.
A lot of coats and being inside more in the heat, blast the heat, that's all I can say.
He put up over 3,500 yards rushing in 3 years with the Jackrabbits. Today, a week from the NFL draft, he remains on a mission to prove his doubters wrong.
Getting overlooked out of high school, no big-time offers, going to smaller schools. So that chip mentality I had, underdog mentality I had, just, it always added fuel to my fire.
It's a big number. This 212-pound back opened some eyes at the combine with the fastest 40-yard dash for a running back.
The 40 would really change my life, so I just kept believing in myself and kept training hard, and I ran the fastest 40.
His dad could not be more proud of Pierre.
He graduated college with a degree, so that's number one, and he keep God first, so we're very proud of him.
A degree is everything in this world, so it's just happy to see my family see me get a degree, and my younger siblings, and it's really my younger siblings, because they look up to me the most, so I did that for them.
Pierre Sr. can't wait to see the next star out of Southwest Little Rock.
I think it's a big impact for the youth coming up, because they have dreams too, and you don't have to be all out in West Little Rock to make something happen. You can be right here at Southwest High School now.
I know the folks at Southwest Little Rock are proud of the Lion King, and I know Warren's proud of Traylon Burks. Much more on him coming up later today with Kyle. Hope you have a great day.
Weather Cams, sponsored by Middleton Heat and Air.
Today.
All right, let's take a look at these temperatures. They were a little bit of a surprise yesterday morning, perhaps, when you walked out and it was warm and kind of muggy. It is today as well, so it won't be a surprise today. Going to get lots of sunshine, and that's going to take us from the upper 60s now to the mid 80s this afternoon. So we'll call it partly cloudy with a few morning clouds kind of lingering just a little bit. Coming up, though, we're going to talk about that weekend forecast, some changes coming by then. Now let's check out your Metro forecast.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on these GMC models. See your Arkansas Select GMC dealer.
5:56 is our time. Let's take a look at our question of the day. The 51st anniversary of Earth Day. The holiday started in 1970 because of growing concerns over air pollution caused by leaded gas. Earth Day is an annual event celebrated around the world, marked by more than 1 billion people every year in more than 190 countries. It's really easy to participate. You could plant a tree, do some gardening, just enjoy some time outside if you want to. For our question of the day, we're asking you on our Facebook and Twitter page, how are you celebrating Earth Day? Let us know. And let's take a look at the Twitter results this morning. Leading result, I'm not, 71.4%, but 28.6% spending some time outside, and it's a nice day to do that. Coming up in the next hour of Daybreak this morning, the Little Rock Zoo working to make operations more environmentally friendly. How the zoo's Green Restaurant Certification program can help their restaurant partners save money at 6:36. News this morning.
The Russian government sees truth as an enemy in this battle.
Russian President Vladimir Putin claiming victory over Mariupol this morning. Their new sanctions against the U.S. at 6:02. And
it's estimated that over 100 million trees are used annually to produce junk mail.
How one middle schooler in Colorado is using junk mail to help better the environment, and how you can too at 6:24. Plus,
the cost to borrow money is only going up. The Fed raising interest rates to tame inflation. I'm Ryan Smith in Washington. Why consumers can still expect price hikes on everyday items coming up.
From the station that's on your side, this is Channel 7 News Daybreak.
6 o'clock is our time. Good morning and welcome to Channel 7 Daybreak. Thanks for joining us on our Friday edition. We go right to our weather forecast with meteorologist Melinda Mayo, and she's got everything you need to know for the weekend ahead. Melinda, nice start to the weekend at least.
It is a nice start to the weekend. Welcome back, by the way. Good to have you back in here for Daybreak. And yes, it is a nice start to the weekend, but it will not end quite so nice. So we've got to talk about that. But first, your Friday morning. Got a little bit of morning cloudiness going on, maybe a little patchy fog as the sun comes up. But I think we'll break out into sunshine and sooner than we did yesterday. Look at these temperatures, though, upper 60s. Also, look at that dew point number, 60s. That's starting to get to be a little humid where you can feel the air, and it is continuing to rush in from the south and bring that moisture in here. But sunny skies today, going to head to the mid 80s for highs. Warmest day we've seen in a while. Coming up, that weekend forecast and some big changes between Saturday and Sunday. Chris?
Melinda, thank you. Let's take a look at what's happening now in our D3 auto sales traffic report, and we are seeing some slow traffic move through the construction zone in Benton this morning. This is going to be in between the Highway 70 off-ramp and the Benton exit, and you can see on this camera from the Department of Transportation, we've got slow moving cars out there. Single file line, everybody, get in it and slow down, please. Now here's a quick look at our 30 River Bridge camera. No problems over there in front of Simmons Bank Arena this morning. We'll make sure you're up to speed on your traffic all morning right here on Channel 7. We do have some breaking news overnight to share with you now. The Stone County Sheriff's Department and state police are working on 2 separate death investigations. They posted on their Facebook page. These investigations are happening in the Bend area of Stone County. Sheriff Lance Bonds is urging people to stay inside and lock their doors. They say it's not an active shooter situation. Deputies are patrolling the area. Make sure you stick with Channel 7 for updates. And turning now to the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, where this morning Russian President Vladimir Putin is claiming victory over Mariupol, but he won't send his troops into the steel plant, and that's where the remaining Ukrainian troops are currently hunkered down. He told his forces to seal it off, allowing not even a fly to come out. Leading up to this, Russia has issued ultimatums, ordering the troops and civilians hiding inside to surrender. The plant covers 4 square miles and has a network of tunnels and bunkers. Ukraine scoffed at that declaration of victory. Mariupol's capture would represent the Kremlin's biggest victory yet. And Russia has announced a slew of sanctions banning dozens of U.S. officials and prominent Americans from entering the country. They include Kamala Harris, our vice president, and her husband, and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. The Russian ministry claims to be targeting top executives, public intellectuals, and journalists who are shaping a, quote, Russia-phobic narrative. The new round of sanctions included State Department spokesman Ned Price, and he called it an honor to be listed alongside his colleagues and journalists sharing the truth.
It is the clearest signal we could ask for that the Russian government sees truth as an enemy in this battle, literally pursuing those who are doing nothing more than trying to spread that truth.
Russia says the travel bans will apply in perpetuity. More than 60 Canadian citizens were also sanctioned, and Russia closed all consular missions in Baltic nations, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Well, a boil order to tell you about. Our time 6:04, and a safety alert in Saline County this morning. The city of Bryant under a boil order today after the Arkansas Department of Health was notified Thursday of a water main break. So this is the area of concern. Look at that map. Streets include Northeast 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Street, Mills Park Road from Bristol to Reynolds Road. They're asking everyone in those areas to avoid the water right now by throwing out any ice and using water bottles if available. So what they're looking for is a microbiological contaminant. The Arkansas Department of Health says that they've received samples to test, and not to worry, this is only a precaution.
Through our policy, when they lose pressure for those type of events, they'll issue a precautionary boil order until they get the water samples and testing come back to show the water's safe.
Now that the samples have been received by the Department of Health, the results are expected to come through this afternoon. 6:05 is our time. Happening today, Cirque Maceo is in Little Rock for the first time ever. The revolutionary theatrical performance has an acrobatic feat, aerial dancing, exotic horses, and plenty more. Joining us this morning with a preview of what you can expect is our very own Desmond Nugent. Desmond, good morning.
Chris, good morning. Happy Friday to you. I know it's been a long week for a lot of Arkansans, and for those Arkansans who are actually looking for something fun this weekend, I think I might actually have the antidote for you. I'm actually at the Arkansas State Fairgrounds where there's an event called the Cirque Maceo, but I'm not going to tell you too much more about it. I'm actually going to bring Charlotte Reynolds, who's actually with the event. First of all, Ms. Reynolds, good morning and welcome to Arkansas.
Thank you for coming out.
Tell me a little bit just about what makes this event a little bit more special or unique than other shows in the past.
So Cirque Maceo is a one-of-a-kind equestrian-themed cirque show. So we feature beautiful horses from all over the world, talented performers from all over the world, and we feature them all together underneath our 600-seat beautiful custom big top. And you can actually see right now we have one of our beautiful horses and two of our talented performers dancing for you right now.
And Ms. Reynolds, just talk to me just about how happy you guys are to be back on the road with everything that's been going on in the last 2 years.
We are so happy. You know, we were at home with the horses and we were working, and you know, we still had to be with them every day, but it's not the same as being out here performing for people, getting to wear the costumes and the makeup, and getting to go all over the country to visit people. And so we're so thankful to be able to be back to doing what we love.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reynolds, for your time. And again, for those families who are interested in this event, it will kick off tonight at 7 o'clock at the Arkansas State Fairgrounds. On your side in Little Rock, Desmond Nugent.
Desmond, thank you. Tickets can be purchased online or at the box office 2 hours before showtime. 6:07 is the time in your community. In Lone Oak, high school students got a chance to work with primary school students with some scary artwork. Lone Oak Primary School art teacher Jamie Moeller worked with Lone Oak High School art teacher Rebecca Mond to create a project that connected the smallest students with the older ones. The kindergarten students plus the first and second graders drew monsters from their imaginations during their art activity class. Those pictures were then taken to the high school where Mrs. Mond's art students interpreted them. The high school students worked for weeks to make sure every single picture that was sent over had a counterpart to send back. And you wouldn't believe the smiles and all the excitement when the primary students saw those finished products. What a great way to bring students of all ages together. Hey, speaking of being together, thanks for being with us here on Channel 7 Daybreak. The time now, 6:08. Coming up this morning, General Electric recalling some of its refrigerators because of a fall risk. The issue and the number of injuries reported in today's business news at 6:19.
Well, it's going to be a very different forecast from Saturday to Sunday. We'll talk about the timing of rain and possible thunderstorms and heavy rain for parts of the state. All that straight ahead, plus your Friday forecast.
Channel 7 News Daybreak, brought to you by Tops Shoes, UAMS Health, Sissy's Log Cabin, and by Saracen Casino Pine Bluff. Weather Cams, sponsored by Middleton Heat and Air.
Comfortable.
Weather team with the most experience. This is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
6:11, we are always looking at the next weather maker headed our way, and that's going to be Sunday and into a good part of Monday, I think, too, with rain chances increasing. And while the severe weather threat doesn't look that high, not a lot of instability by then, I think the flooding threat is what we're really going to have to watch, because look at some of these rain totals, especially north and west of the metro. And these are areas that are already pretty saturated from rain earlier this week. So I think here around Little Rock area, 1 to 2 inches possible. We're kind of saturated too, but look at this, 3 to 4 along the River Valley and up towards the Arkansas-Oklahoma border. So that could cause some flooding. We're going to have to watch that. I think lesser amounts the further south and east you are, but even you will get a half inch or so of rainfall in the south and eastern counties. 69 degrees right now for your Friday forecast, starting out warm, a little bit humid too. Boy, that's really changed in just the past couple of days as that moisture has come in. So dress for a warm day. I think the kids are good to go with shorts at school today if they'd like to do that. Upper 60s in most locations, 70 here in Little Rock, plus tons of sunshine once we get rid of just a few morning clouds. It will actually be at 80 degrees at lunchtime today. So shorts, I'm probably going to see some flip-flops out there today. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s for highs, and tomorrow backing down just a little bit, maybe a little bit more cloud cover tomorrow. But Saturday's your day for outdoor work, outdoor play this weekend. Sunday, the rain chances come in. I think some showers maybe even in the morning, but better rain chances increasing as we go into the day, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. And I think this hangs over into a good part of Monday too, because our latest model information showing that the front kind of stalls over eastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. That's the reason there's going to be so much rain there, and lesser amounts when it gets going through the state. But look, this is Monday at 5, and we're still seeing quite a bit of shower activity through the state. Leaves, it looks like Monday night finally, and a little bit cooler behind it after that for next week. So not cool today, going up to 84 degrees, warm and breezy. We haven't had a lot of humidity yet, so kind of watch yourself out there if you're working outside. Temperatures tonight will go down to the mid-60s. That's it. And then behind that rain on Monday, we'll see those temperatures dropping. Morning lows will get cooler again. Look at the difference from the 80s over the weekend to just 60s for highs Monday into Tuesday. All right, that is your forecast. Chris?
6:13 is the time. Coming up on Daybreak. Elon Musk says he has obtained $46.5 billion to finance a Twitter takeover deal. What that deal could look like coming up next. But first, today's Rasmussen number of the day is 71. That's the percentage of people in favor of sending U.S. troops and military equipment to the southern border.
In this morning's GMA First Look, Elon Musk forging ahead with his bid to buy Twitter. The world's richest man confirming in an SEC filing Thursday he secured $46.5 billion in funding to finance the deal. That plan may also include purchasing some or all of Twitter stock directly from shareholders.
I think it's highly probable near term that the board's going to turn down Musk. I think it's highly probable that he's going to follow up with a tender offer to all public shareholders. And I think it's very uncertain whether 50% of them are going to sell their shares to Musk.
And coming up at 7 a.m., Dan Abrams breaks down more of what Musk could do with the social platform if he acquires it. With your GMA First Look, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
We hit the bike trails every weekend.
Shingles doesn't care.
I grow all my own vegetables.
Shingles doesn't care.
We've still got the best moves you've ever seen.
Good for you, but Shingles doesn't care. Because 1 in 3 people will get shingles. You need protection. But no matter how healthy you feel, your immune system declines as you age, increasing your risk for getting shingles. So what can protect you? Shingrix protects. You can protect yourself from shingles with a vaccine proven to be over 90% effective. Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Shingrix. Shingles doesn't care, but you should.
We do have an accident to report in our D3 Auto Sales traffic report. Welcome back into Channel 7 Daybreak. 6:19 is our time. This is from the Arkansas Department of Transportation and a live look at one of their cameras set up at the Lone Oak exit. This is going to be 40 eastbound, and on the left-hand side of your screen is where the accident is. The emergency vehicles are blocking just the right shoulder, but there's a car in the trees over there right now. So just use caution while they try to get that accident and that car cleared up. And we'll keep you up to speed on your traffic all morning, including a look at the 30 River Bridge camera where you can see volume still picking up slightly to a moderate level. All right, time now for your morning business news. A recall alert for you this morning. General Electric recalling some of its refrigerators because of a fall risk. The company says it's received 71 reports of freezer drawer handles detaching. It has caused at least 37 people to get hurt. 3 had serious fall injuries. The recall includes 6 models sold between February of 2020 to January of 2022. They all have French doors with a bottom freezer. Those with impacted appliances should contact GE for repair.
All right, the time now is 6:20. Let's do your allergy and pollen news right now because it changes a little bit each day or so, and it has for today. The grass pollen has gone up into the medium category. No surprise, that grass is starting to grow and putting out that pollen. Weeds are still low, trees and mold still considered in the high category. So if that is what you are allergic to, then definitely it's not going to be a great day for that. Coming up, though, we'll talk about some rain chances over the weekend. It could be quite a bit of rain for some. The timing in just a little bit. Chris?
Linda, thank you. The time now 6:21. Coming up on Daybreak, millions of trees are cut down each year to create junk mail. How one young girl is turning that trash into something new. That's at 6:24. But first, it's time for a coffee break.
Nick.
6:24 is the time. Welcome back into Daybreak. Today may be Earth Day, but that doesn't mean you can't help make a difference the rest of the year. That's why a middle schooler from Colorado is making a difference by turning junk mail into a kind of fertilizer. ABC's Will Gantz shows you how.
Most of it is not for anyone in our house. It's junk mail.
When it comes to junk mail, Izzy Hayward says it's time to cut it out.
Every day I go to the mailbox to get mail for our house. It's one of my jobs and I hate it.
The Colorado 11-year-old writing about it in an essay for school.
It's estimated that over 100 million trees are used annually to produce junk mail.
Let's make some seed bombs.
Izzy doing a little digging of her own and stumbling across this YouTube short from Art's Nursery Garden Home on how to recycle organic material like paper into something called seed bombs, which are great for growing flowers. An idea taking root in the elementary schooler's mind. Could junk mail be turned into seed bombs?
This one is already sprouting, but you just throw it out somewhere and it starts growing. Or if it rains, it breaks open.
Izzy teaming up with her grandma to cut the junk mail into pieces and blend it with water, packing the pulp into a cheesecloth with soil and seeds, draining it, and leaving it to dry for 24 hours. After that, like Izzy says, you can literally just throw it into the wilderness, and it should sprout.
There you go. People are going to think we're littering over here.
Izzy's goal is to inspire more people to make seed bombs for their own backyards. As for the companies that make all that junk mail,
they don't have to stop sending junk mail. They just need to replant what they cut down.
You saw Izzy tossing her seed bombs around her local park, but experts say you can toss them into your home garden or chuck them into alleyways and roadway medians to make some urban areas a little more green this Earth Day. Will Gans, ABC News, New York.
Will, thank you. And the time now 6:26, still to come on Daybreak. Interest rates continue to rise. Why consumers should brace for price hikes on everyday items at 6:32.
News this morning.
Don't ignore something and say, oh, it's just going to go away.
During the springtime, you might be confused between COVID, flu, and now allergy symptoms. What to watch out for and when to see your doctor at 6:35. Plus,
Little Rock Zoo ended the use of one-time plastic straws in our food concessions.
how the Little Rock Zoo is promoting a more sustainable lifestyle this Earth Day, the economic benefits of this program at 6:36. And the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office investigating after a bomb threat was made at Mills High School. What we know this morning as the investigation continues at 6:51.
Hey, good morning. 6:30 is our time. Thanks for joining us on Channel 7 Daybreak.
Good to have everybody here. Still a little bit cloudy this morning, but the sun is coming out and we're going to see a warm day. In fact, when you step out this morning, kind of feels like yesterday did. Little warm, little muggy, and humidity has come back into our forecast. We haven't had a whole lot of that so far this season, but we do today. That dew point at 62, you'll feel that. 69 degrees right now, so near 70 and lower 60s in just a few spots around Clinton. Hour by hour, though, I think if you do have some morning clouds, those will give way to sunshine, partly cloudy skies, and highs today in the mid-80s. One of the warmest days so far of this season. Coming up, we've got that weekend outlook because it really changes between Saturday and Sunday. Chris?
There is an accident in our D3 auto sales traffic report. It's on 40 eastbound at the Lone Oak exit. It's not causing any problems, though. This is the trouble spot. This is going to be Interstate 30. Eastbound coming through Benton and Bryant this morning, really just the Benton exit. That's the Haskell Harmony Grove exit right there. Yeah, construction delays causing a big slowdown. Single file traffic all the way from there back to the Hot Springs exit on Highway 70. Please use caution and be prepared for some delays. Here's a live look at our 30 River Bridge. No problems in front of Simmons Bank Arena. We'll keep you up to speed on your traffic all morning right here on Channel 7. 6:32 is our time. New this morning, rising interest rates will hit American families across the board, from borrowing money for a car or home to the prices you pay for everyday items. The National Desk reporter Ryan Smith breaking down the impact for you this morning.
Many experts now saying the Fed was late in making moves to tame inflation. Chairman Jerome Powell now taking a hawkish stance, signaling another interest rate increase next month, with more to come. From the grocery store checkout line to buying a home, prices are rising at their fastest pace in more than 40 years.
We really are committed to using our tools to get 2% inflation back.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell vowing to raise interest rates swiftly in an effort to cool record-setting inflation.
The Fed is really trying to indicate that they're serious about getting inflation under control, and they know they need to. They know they're behind the game.
Duke University economist Connell Fullenkamp warns the cost to borrow money is only going up. But even if you're not in the market for a new car or home loan, consumers can still expect some price hikes elsewhere, as many companies will continue borrowing money on adjustable rates.
So the companies that we buy stuff from could also be having higher costs, and those interest costs could be being passed on to consumers in the future if the Fed keeps jacking up interest rates.
The USDA says food prices will increase 4% by the end of this year due to inflation. Thursday, Nestle reporting prices for products in North America jumped 8.5% in the first quarter. And just this week, buying a home got even more expensive.
With inventory so limited, you've got prices continuing to increase because buyer demand is just so very strong.
The average home price was more than $375,000 in March, according to the National Association of Realtors. A survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York finds only 43% of renters believe they'll ever own a home, the first time that number's dropped below 50 in the survey's history.
We're simply not building enough homes to actually meet the overall needs that we have in the economy. Probably 5 to 6 million more homes, if they were constructed today, could be sold, and we'd come close to actually meeting demand.
That real estate CEO says it would take between 5 and 6 million homes built and sold to come close to meeting the housing demand right now. In Washington, I'm Ryan Smith for the National Desk.
6:34 is our time. It's springtime in Arkansas, and the great debate this year is it COVID? Is it flu? Is it allergies? You probably asked those questions to you or yourself or your family already. Weather's changing, pollen emerging. We have a pollen report every day for that reason. Many are concerned about differences. How do you know when it's time to see a doctor? Dr. Robert Hopkins with UAMS says even though itchy and watery eyes and an itchy nose and throat are typically symptoms of allergies, runny noses and fever can indicate maybe some bigger problems. Also, tightening in your chest can occur with allergies as well, but Hopkins says that non-specific respiratory issues are always a good indicator. Maybe call your doctor for a specific treatment plan.
Don't ignore symptoms and say, oh, it's just going to go away. Talk to your healthcare provider. Let's make sure that we're evaluating things appropriately and treating you for things we can't treat.
Dr. Hopkins says colds and the stomach bug have dominated the season so far, and that the flu is lingering longer than it typically does this time of year. So some ways to take precautions are washing your hands frequently, staying home if you're feeling sick, and also wearing a mask if you're sick and are around others. Happening this morning, the Arkansas Department of Health's Minority Health Commission is hosting its 7th biennial summit. The Putting the Me in Mental Health Today, Tomorrow, and Always runs from 7:30 this morning until 12:30. Speakers at the summit will focus on the impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on mental health of both children and adults in communities of color. This is a live streamed event. You can find a link to register for free on our website, KETV.com. Just click on this story. 6:36 is our time now in your community. This Earth Day, the Little Rock Zoo is promoting a more sustainable lifestyle. Thursday, the zoo launched what it calls Swing into Action, a green restaurant certification program. It's designed to help restaurants operate in more environmentally friendly ways. The zoo has already taken steps to do just that.
As a part of this effort, the Little Rock Zoo ended the use of one-time plastic straws in our food concessions. We stopped using plastic bags to reduce plastic waste. And we switched to aluminum cans in our vending in order to further reduce plastics consumption.
The program provides resources for operating an environmentally friendly restaurant, creates incentives through promotional partnerships, and helps restaurants save money by improving their operations. Our time now 6:37, coming up on Daybreak. For a question of the day, we're asking you this morning, how are you celebrating Earth Day? Let us know on our Facebook and Twitter pages. The results next.
And at the bus stop this morning, pretty warm. Temperatures in the 60s, lots of sunshine later today as we get up into the mid-80s. One of the warmest days so far of this season. Coming up, your weekend forecast.
Experience.
Hey, welcome back. 6:40 is the time. Let's take a look at our question of the day. Today marks the 51st anniversary of Earth Day. This holiday started in 1970 because of a growing concern over air pollution caused by leaded gas. Earth Day is an annual event celebrated around the world, marked by more than 1 billion people every year in more than 190 countries. Hey, it's pretty easy to participate. You could plant a tree, do some gardening, or just go out and enjoy some fresh air. For our question of the day, we're asking you this morning, how are you celebrating Earth Day? We gave you some options if you'd like to choose from any of those on our poll question this morning. Let's take a look at some of the results. I'm not the leading result. 78% of the audience saying that. 20% saying they're spending time outside. Nobody's planting a tree that has voted yet. And a few people are gardening. You can keep voting or leave a comment if you'd like to throughout the morning. Hey, coming up on Daybreak, a new circus experience is in Little Rock for one weekend only. A preview of what you can expect at 6:46. The time now is 6:40. We'll be right back.
Furniture. The weather team with the most experience. This is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
All right, a lot to talk about today. Warm air, some of the warmest we've seen so far this season, and rain chances back for part of your weekend, but not all of it. It won't be as rainy, I don't think, as our Easter weekend was, but when it does get here, it could be heavy. Wanted to show you a little bit of the live looks from our Middleton weather cam. That's over in Hot Springs. You can see some clouds, but some breaks in the clouds there. This is off of Chenal Mountain, and a little bit more cloud cover kind of right here at Little Rock. That's not going to stick around all day. I think the sun comes out, and we're at 69 degrees. It is a mild day. If the kids have not donned the shorts yet for school, I think they could today because it is so warm, and we're going to see those temperatures into the mid-80s this afternoon. So we've been to 84 before not too long ago, but we haven't been there a lot so far this season. So it is going to be a warm one. Tomorrow back it down just a few degrees with a few more clouds on Saturday. That's your day for anything outside, whether it's work or play, because Sunday the rain chances come in, especially in the afternoon. You may get a little dry weather Sunday morning. And it looks like this system sticks around maybe a little bit longer than we thought. And look at this. We could see 3 to even 4 inches of rain in sections of northwestern Arkansas, 1 inch to 2 inches central. South Arkansas, probably less than 1 inch, but you'll get some rainfall too. That's enough in northwest Arkansas, especially to cause flooding, especially since we're already kind of saturated from the rain earlier this week. So Sunday morning, I think we see the first of some showers moving in, but it really increases in the afternoon. But here's kind of the change from overnight data. It looks like this front sort of stalls there in eastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. That's the reason it keeps raining there. And then it's kind of Monday when all of this comes on through. So Sunday and Monday both looking pretty wet. Could even go into maybe Monday night before eastern Arkansas is done with that. So quite a bit on the way. So enjoy the dry weather today. I know a lot of people trying to mow the grass today or tomorrow. Try to get that in maybe before we get wet again on Sunday. Temperatures today will be in the mid 80s for most of us, back down to the 60s. Kind of humid out there. You can feel it. And then the rain chances best for later in the day, Sunday night, and a good part of Monday too. A little cooler behind that system. Look at that drop off with highs just in the 60s early next week. Okay, 6:45. Let's check out your metro forecast.
Traffic. 59? Ooh, 60 crane cars.
Sure are a lot of crane cars on the road.
Wonder why that is. That's easy. It's because the 3BS. The what? You know, the best service, the best selection, and the best smiles.
Find out why there's more Crane automobiles on the road when you see what Crane can do in 22.
Maybe it's time to stop watching so much TV, Dad.
What? Maybe he picked it up at school. No other one. Oh, people sure like Crane.
6:46 is the time. Happening today. Cirque Maceo is in Little Rock for the first time ever, and this revolutionary theatrical performance has acrobatic feats, aerial dancing, exotic horses, and plenty more. Joining us this morning with a preview of what you can expect is Desmond Nugent. Desmond, good morning.
Chris, good morning and happy Friday to you. For those families who are looking for something fun to do, I think I have just the treat for you. I'm actually at the Arkansas State Fairgrounds, and there's an event called the Cirque Maceo. And as you can see behind me, there's actually a hand bouncer. He's got a lot of strength. I don't even know if I can do all of that, but I actually am going to bring you the owner of the event here. He's going to give us a little bit more of kind of what's going on. First of all, welcome to Arkansas.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And so just talk to me about just what makes this event so unique. What can people look forward to tonight?
So really what makes this event great is that it's a old style type circus with a very contemporary twist. We have a lot of dance, we have a lot of aerial acts, beautiful horses, beautiful people. It's just a very original show. It's a completely original production. There's nothing like this touring in the world. It's very, very exciting. It's super fun for the whole family. You don't have to be a horse lover, as you can see, to enjoy the show. There's an array of beautiful acts.
And not just, and kind of piggybacking on those acts, is there any type of teasers that you can kind of give us as far as like anything special that you can mention at all?
There's a lot of special treats. There's a really beautiful aerial act that we have, the aerial silks. It's a combination with the horse. You kind of got a little bit of a teaser earlier this morning. That's really one of the crowd favorites. And then we also have our traditional bareback riding act, and that's where we stand on the horses and jump fire and build pyramids. And that's a family tradition of mine going back 200 years.
Wow. And again, thank you for your time and welcome to Arkansas. Again, if you want to catch the Cirque Maceo act, it's at the Arkansas State Fairgrounds tonight starting at 7. On your side, Desmond Nugent.
Desmond, thanks. Tickets can be purchased online at cirquemaceo.com or at the box office 2 hours before showtime. Coming up on Daybreak, a Pine Bluff girl who was missing for 3 weeks has now been found safe where she was discovered at 6:51.
Mattress.
6:50 is our time. Welcome back into Daybreak. Here's a look at some of our top stories this morning. Some new information to share with you right now is an update to a story we first brought to you on Daybreak yesterday. A missing Pine Bluff girl has been found safe. 19-year-old Aisha Bethune from Pine Bluff was found in Duncanville, Texas. That's according to the Harris County Sheriff's Office. She had been missing since April 3rd. No other information has been released at this time. The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a bomb threat was made at Mills High School. The threat was made around 12:45 Thursday afternoon. The school was immediately evacuated. Investigators cleared the school, and after finding no evidence of a bomb, they're still investigating. Mills Middle School was also evacuated out of an abundance of caution. This is an ongoing investigation. We'll keep you up to speed as new information is released. And a 4-day controlled burn will continue today at Pinnacle Mountain State Park. This burn started on Thursday and is scheduled to continue today, Monday, and Tuesday. It will not take place over the weekend. It begins each day at 8 a.m. and lasts until 4. The burns are being conducted to get rid of trees, tree trimmings, and brush to make sure that they can put in a new visitor center. The park will remain open to visitors in the time. President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law is delivering up to $86.9 million to help Arkansas reduce carbon dioxide emissions. The money will go towards helping the state develop reduction strategies proportioned over the next 5 years. Projects through these funds will install infrastructure to support the electrification of freight vehicles and personal cars, construct bus rapid transit corridors, and facilitate micro-mobility and biking. It will also create on- and off-road facilities for alternative fuel vehicles. President Biden's goal is to cut carbon dioxide emissions in half by 2030. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture is investing over $95 million in 19 watershed infrastructure projects right here in the state. The USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service made the announcement Thursday at the Forest City Civic Center before visiting one of the projects in Marianna. Some of the projects include rehabilitating dams, flood prevention, and watershed restoration. Officials say these investments will protect communities in the state from natural disasters and help create a more climate-resistant future. The USDA is investing $42 million in 132 infrastructure projects in 30 other states. And let's continue our breakdown of Thursday's day of debates for candidates fighting for your vote in the primary election season. In the race for governor, 6 of the 8 candidates showed up for Thursday's debate day, hosted by the Arkansas Press Association. Republican Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Democratic candidate Anthony Bland did not show. Various topics were debated, including what they thought the most important issue Arkansans are facing.
The number one thing facing Arkansans is merely the struggle for survival, in my opinion. Being able to have the light bill taken care of, being able to put food on the table for their families, being able to take care of their necessities.
In many of our rural areas, they were already in the hole before COVID-19. They're facing a drug epidemic with opioids. They hadn't recovered from the methamphetamine epidemic. So there's major problems out there. We want to grow the economy.
Poverty is a serious issue in the state of Arkansas. There's no question about it. And with the way the state dealt with COVID and then the Biden inflation, where all of us feel the pain every time we go to the grocery store, every time we go to the gas pump, it's just been made worse. Now, you can't tax your way out of poverty. We're sitting on a $1.2 billion tax surplus in the state, which means they've been taxing the living daylights out of us, and it's outrageous.
Aside from simple lack of opportunity in some of our rural areas, it would be having their money wasted by the people that normally sit in the offices that we're seeking. As was mentioned before, we have an overgrown bureaucracy, and it's not a matter of not needing those regulations, it's a matter of we have them in place, but they're being wasteful.
Small business needs help, and that we need to allocate funds to support small business, because small business help the economy. In addition to that, we have to make sure poverty, during COVID and before COVID, we got kids that the only meal they get in school that's the only meal they would get.
The single greatest issue is that communities are left out, unseen, and disconnected from resources that are available. And so for me and for us, we see it as critical to spread PB&J across the state, because communities are disconnected from PB&J. And to be really clear, PB&J is preschool, broadband, and jobs.
And if you'd like to read more about the other topics that were discussed or what other candidates in other races had to say, just go click on this story on KATV.com. Early voting in the primary election begins May 9th. Hey, coming up next after the break, your forecast with meteorologist Linda Mayo. Stay with us.
Coming up here on Good Morning America, we made it. We're in Miami Beach after a 2,100 plus mile trek in an electric vehicle. We're going to tell you all about the savings, how much time it took, and still look at some of the challenges and benefits of EVs. And on this Earth Day, we have Kana Whitworth up in the trees with some of the arbonauts, they're called. And then we have to talk about the masks. Of course, with the mask whiplash, there are a lot of questions, big changes from Philadelphia to Los Angeles. So what's going to happen next? We're going to have that and so much more coming up right here on Good Morning America.
Thank you, Ginger. Let's check out our weather here in Arkansas. Really starting to feel like spring now. Kind of warm, a little muggy out there to start the day, and headed to highs in the low to mid 80s. It'll be one of the warmest days we've had so far this season. We've been to 84 before, and I think that's pretty close to where we'll end up this afternoon. Tomorrow, much of the same, but Sunday, different. Rain chances coming in. I don't think the severe weather threat is that high with this system. Of course, we'll watch it, but the flooding threat could be, especially north and west of the metro. An update today at 9. Chris?
Linda, thank you. Another accident to report in our D3 Auto Sales traffic report. North Little Rock westbound outside lane of Interstate 40 is currently closed off because of an accident there. But the main delay this morning is coming in, and this is going to be 30 eastbound, stretching from the Haskell exit up to or down to Highway 70. This is 30 eastbound, all slowed down to one lane because of construction. Please use caution. Here's a live look at our 30 River Bridge cam, seeing just a moderate level of volume in front of Simmons Bank Arena. Have a great day, everybody, and a great weekend. We'll have an update on your news and weather in 23 minutes.